The emergency lights bathed the Galactic Council chamber in angry red as Ambassador Hyan Wu slammed his fist on the metal table. 36 alien representatives sat in stunned silence, their various breathing apparatus and translation devices humming in the background. The Vorthan Empire has broken the peace treaty, Hyan Wu announced, his voice cutting through the chamber's thick atmosphere. They attacked Kepler 7 trading station without warning. 2,000 civilians are trapped inside. A tall, blue-skinned delegate from the Centauri system raised her hand. What does Earth request from the Council? Military support. The Vorthans have surrounded the station with their war fleet. Our people need help. The chamber erupted in worried whispers. The Vorthan Empire was known for its brutal military tactics. Their soldiers were 8 feet tall, covered in thick, armor-like skin, and feared nothing. Even the combined council fleets avoided direct conflict with them. How many ships can Earth send? Asked the delegate. Hyan Wu's face darkened. 1 frigate is already on its way. That's all we can spare right now. The aliens exchanged concerned glances. 1 small human ship against an entire Vorthan battle fleet seemed like suicide. Several delegates began gathering their belongings, clearly planning to leave before the situation got worse. On Kepler 7 station, Defense Coordinator Jamin watched the approaching Earthship through his viewing window. The small frigate looked tiny compared to the massive Vorthon vessels surrounding the station. Their black ships were covered in spikes and weapons, looking more like floating fortresses than spacecraft. Sir, the Earthship is requesting permission to dock, reported his assistant. J-Min sighed. Granted. Though I don't know what 1 small crew can do against this. The station shook as another Vorthan energy blast hit the outer shields. They had been under attack for 6 hours now. The shields were failing. The station's weapons were no match for the enemy fleet. 20 minutes later, K-Man stood in the docking bay as the Earthship's airlock opened. He expected to see a team of soldiers in full combat gear. Instead, a single woman stepped out. She appeared to be in her 30s, with short black hair and calm, dark eyes. Her uniform was completely black, except for a small silver mark on her collar that Jamin didn't recognize. She carried no visible weapons and walked with quiet, confident steps. I'm Nari, she said simply. I'm here to help. Zmian stared at her. You're the military support. Where's your team? I work alone. Ma'am, with respect, there are over 300 Vorthan shock troops on this station. They've broken through our outer defenses. We need real soldiers, not, he gestured helplessly at her plain appearance. Nari tilted her head slightly. Where are they now? Level 7, moving toward the civilian shelters. Our security forces are trying to slow them down, but they're losing ground fast. Without another word, Nari turned and walked toward the elevator. Min hurried after her, his mind racing. Had Earth really sent just 1 unarmed woman to deal with this crisis? The elevator descended in silence. When the doors opened on level 7, the sounds of battle filled the air. Energy weapons fired in rapid bursts, and the heavy footsteps of Vorthan soldiers echoed through the metal corridors. Nari stepped out calmly, as if she was going for a casual walk. Jamin followed, keeping his weapon ready. They moved through the curved hallways of the station. Following the sounds of conflict, they found the first group of Vorthon soldiers at a junction between 2 corridors. 5 of the massive aliens were advancing on a group of station security guards. The humans were pinned down behind an overturned table, the weapons barely scratching the aliens' thick hide. Nari observed the scene for a moment, then walked straight toward the enemy. Wait, Jamin called out, but she ignored him. The Vorthan soldiers noticed her approaching. One of them, a creature nearly 9 feet tall, with scars covering his face, raised his energy rifle. The weapon was designed to punch through ship armor. Nari didn't slow down. As the alien pulled the trigger, she moved sideways, faster than Jamin's eyes could follow. The energy blast missed her by inches, burning a hole in the wall behind her. Before the soldier could fire again, Nari was in front of him. She grabbed the rifle with one hand and twisted it out of his grip. The metal barrel crumpled like paper in her fingers. The Vorthan roared in anger and swung his massive fist at her head. Nari ducked under the blow and struck him once in the chest with her open palm. The impact sent the 8-foot-tall alien flying backward into the wall. He hit with enough force to crack the metal plating and slumped to the floor. Unconscious, the other 4 Vorthans stared in shock. They had never seen a human move like that or display such strength. Their species was known throughout the galaxy for their physical power. No human should be able to throw one of them around like a toy. The second soldier recovered first and charged at Nari with a curved blade. She stepped aside at the last moment, grabbed his wrist, and twisted. The alien's arm broke with a sharp crack. And he dropped the weapon with a howl of pain. Nari caught the falling blade and used it to cut through the third soldier's weapon harness. Ha's equipment clattered to the floor, and she followed up with a precise strike to his neck. Collapsed instantly. The 4th and 5th Vorthans tried to attack her together, coming from different directions. Nari jumped straight up, her feet leaving the ground by at least 6 feet. She kicked one soldier in the head while spinning in mid-air to avoid the other's grab. Both aliens crashed to the floor. The entire fight had lasted less than 30 seconds. Jamin stared at the scene in disbelief. 5 Vorthon shock troops lay unconscious around Nari, who hadn't even broken a sweat. She picked up one of their communication devices and listened to the alien chatter for a moment. "They're planning to breach the civilian shelter in 10 minutes, she said, handing the device to Jamin. "Keep your people back. I'll handle the rest." "How did you, Jamin began, then stopped. "What are you?" Nari looked at him with those calm, dark eyes. "I'm just someone who keeps promises." She walked away down the corridor, leaving Jamin standing among the defeated aliens. He looked down at the communication device in his hands, then at the silver mark on Nari's collar that he had glimpsed as she left. He had never seen that insignia before. It wasn't in any military database he knew of, but something about it made him feel both hopeful and deeply concerned. Who was Nari really, and what other secrets was Earth hiding from the galaxy? As alarms continued to sound throughout the station, Jamin realized that today would change everything. The woman in black was about to show the Vorthan Empire and the rest of the galaxy that humanity was far more dangerous than anyone had ever imagined. Word spread through the galaxy faster than light itself within hours of the Kepler-7 incident. Every major intelligence agency was scrambling to identify the mysterious human woman who had single-handedly defeated an entire Vorthon strike. Team Tehai sat in his information brokerage office on Centauri Prime, surrounded by holographic displays showing news feeds from across known space. As one of the galaxy's most skilled information dealers, he had clients willing to pay enormous sums for data about this ghost soldier. "Computer, search all human military databases for female operative matching physical description," he commanded. The blue hologram flickered as it processed the request. "Search complete. No matches found in Earth Defense Force records. No matches found in Colonial Guard databases. No matches found in Merchant Marine files." Tehai frowned. This was impossible. Every human in military service was registered somewhere. The bureaucracy of Earth's government was legendary for its detailed record-keeping. Expand search to include civilian databases, medical records, and birth certificates. Processing. No matches found for individual designated Nari with corresponding physical characteristics and demonstrated combat abilities. The Centauri broker leaned back in his chair. In 30 years of information gathering, he had never encountered a person who simply didn't exist in any database. "Hey, He opened a secure channel to his most trusted source in Earth's intelligence services. "Need everything you have on the Kepler-7 operative," he transmitted. The response came back within minutes. "What operative?" Official reports showed no Earth personnel were involved in the incident. Meanwhile, on Earth, Minho sat in his office at Military Command Headquarters, staring at a priority message that had just appeared on a secure terminal. The communication bore the highest possible classification codes, ones he had never seen before. "Report to Conference Room 0 immediately. Come alone. Tell no one." Minho had worked as Earth's military liaison for 15 years. He knew every conference room in the building. There was no conference room 0 following the directions in the message. He took a service elevator to a basement level that wasn't on any building plans. The doors opened to reveal a corridor he had never seen before, with walls made of some kind of dark metal that seemed to absorb light. At the end of the corridor stood a single door with no markings. Minho approached it cautiously, and it slid open without any input from him. Inside, 3 people in black uniforms sat at a table. All wore the same silver insignia that witnesses had described seeing on Nari's collar. The woman in the center, who appeared to be in her 50s, gestured for him to sit. "You've been asking questions about the Kepler-7 incident," she said, without introduction. "I'm the military liaison. It's my job to coordinate with our forces. Nari isn't part of any force you coordinate with." Minho felt the chill run down his spine. "Then who is she?" "K." The woman studied him for a long moment. "Someone who has been keeping your species alive for longer than you know. Your job now is to make sure no one else asks questions about her." "Don't understand." "You don't need to understand. Q, just need to follow orders." She slid a data pad across the table. "These are the official reports you will file." The Warthen attack was repelled by station security forces. A coup, no Earth military personnel were involved. Minho looked at the pad, then back at the woman. "What happens if I refuse?" "Then you'll forget this conversation ever happened." Something in her tone made Minho believe she wasn't speaking metaphorically. His hands shook as he picked up the datapad. On the outer rim of the galaxy, in a research station orbiting a dying star, Dr. So-Young was making a discovery that would change everything. She specialized in ancient human archaeology, studying the earliest evidence of human expansion into space. "Computer, enhance image sectors 7 through 12, she commanded. Studying a holographic display of recently excavated artifacts, the image sharpened, revealing carved symbols on a piece of metal that had been buried for over 400 years. So-Young's breath caught in her throat. One of the symbols was identical to the insignia that had been described in the leaked reports from Kepler-7. "Cross-reference this symbol with all archaeological databases," she ordered. The computer worked for several minutes before responding. "Symbol found in 17 different excavation sites across human space. All sites predate official human expansion by an average of 200 years. So-Young stared at the data in disbelief. According to official history, humans had only been traveling between stars for 300 years. But these sites suggested human presence much earlier. Display locations of all matching sites. A galactic map appeared, showing dots scattered across human territory. So-Young noticed a pattern. Each site was located near what had later become strategically important human colonies or battle sites. "Computer, correlate these locations with historical conflicts involving human forces." The results sent a shiver through her. Every single site corresponded to a place where humans had won impossible victories against overwhelming odds. Battles that military historians still couldn't explain. Back on Kepler-7, Tari stood in the station's command center, studying reports on her handheld device. Keeman approached her cautiously, still unsure what to make of the woman who had saved his station. "The Vorthen fleet is maintaining their position," he reported. They're not attacking, but they're not leaving either. Nari nodded, then did something that made Jaemin's blood run cold. She began speaking in perfect Vorthon, the clicking, growling language that required vocal cords humans didn't possess. Tell your commander that his failure here will not be forgotten by the Empire, she said into a communication device she had taken from one of the captured soldiers. The response came in rapid. Okay, Warthen. Nari listened calmly, then replied in the same language. The conversation continued for several minutes before she ended the transmission. How did you do that? Jaemin asked. Humans can't speak Vorthen. Nari looked at him with those calm, dark eyes. Most humans can't. What did you tell them? That they have 1 hour to leave this system or face consequences they won't survive. Jaemin felt his stomach drop. Akia threatened an entire Vorten battle fleet. They'll destroy the station. No, Nari said simply. They won't. She walked to the communication console and activated a channel that didn't appear on any of the station systems. This is Unit 7. Request immediate support at Kepler 7. Authorization code, Silent Thunder, Unit 7. K-Man repeated. What's Unit 7? Nari didn't answer. Instead, she stood perfectly still, as if listening to something only she could hear. Then she turned to him with an expression that was both sad and determined. In 1 hour, you're going to see something that will change how you think about your own species. I'm sorry for that, Tai, but it's necessary. Outside the station, the Vorthen fleet commander received reports that confused and angered him. Sensors were detecting energy signatures approaching from multiple directions. Ships that hadn't been there moments before were suddenly appearing on his screens. But, according to his intelligence, there were no human fleets in this sector. Earth's military was small and poorly equipped compared to the Empire's forces as the hour deadline approached. The commander realized that everything he thought he knew about humanity was about to be proven wrong. And in the depths of space, carrying no identification and flying ships that didn't appear in any database, Nari's backup was arriving. Dr. So-Young hadn't slept in 3 days. Her research station's laboratory was covered with holographic displays showing archaeological data from across human space. The silver insignia that Nari wore appeared in dig sites spanning for centuries, always connected to impossible human victories. Computer, display timeline of all sites containing the silver mark. She commanded. The hologram shifted, showing a chronological progression. The earliest site dated back to 2387, nearly 200 years before humanity's official first contact with alien species. The most recent was from just 15 years ago. Found buried near the site of the Battle of Rigel 7. So-Young remembered that battle from her history studies. A single human colony ship had somehow defeated 3 Korthok warships, saving 10,000 civilians. Expats still couldn't explain how it was possible. Cross-reference with survivor testimonies from all related conflicts. She ordered. The computer processed the request, then displayed dozens of witness accounts. So-Young read through them, her excitement growing. The same phrases appeared over and over. Shadows that fought like lightning. Humans who moved too fast to see. Warriors who spoke our language better than we did. Her hand shook as she opened a secure communication channel to her mentor, Professor Dongwu, taught military history at the University of New Seoul. Professor, I need to ask you about something your grandfather told you, she said when his weathered face appeared. On the screen, Dongwu frowned. This is about the Kepler 7 incident, isn't it? The woman who defeated the Vorthens. You've heard about it? Everyone has. But more importantly, I recognized the fighting style from the security footage. He paused, looking around his office, as if checking for listeners. My grandfather fought in the Martian Independence War. He used to tell me stories about the silent ones. So-Young leaned forward. What did he say? Is that during the darkest moments of the war, when human forces were about to be overrun, these warriors would appear. They wore no uniforms anyone recognized, carried no identification, and fought with skills that seemed impossible. After the battle, they would vanish like they had never existed. Did he ever see their insignia? Dongwu was quiet for a long moment. A silver mark. He drew it for me once when I was young. I thought it was just an old man's war stories. But now, Professor, I think those stories were real. I think these people have been protecting humanity for centuries. On Kepler 7, Nari stood in the observation deck, watching the Vorthen fleet through the reinforced windows. The massive black ships hung in space like sleeping predators, their weapons trained on the station behind her. Jamin monitored the countdown timer she had set. 30 minutes until her deadline expired. The station sensors showed no sign of approaching human reinforcements. "They're not coming," Jamin said. "Whatever backup you called for, it's not going to arrive in time." Nari turned to look at him. "Look again." Jamin checked his displays, then froze. Ships were appearing on his sensors, but not from any direction that made sense. They seemed to be materializing from empty space, as if they had been hiding in the void itself. "How many vessels?" Nari asked calmly. 12. No. 15. The number keeps changing. I can't get a clear count. Jamin's voice rose with confusion. "These ships aren't in any database I know. They're not broadcasting any identification signals." Through the observation window, they could see the Vorthen fleet beginning to move. The alien ships were repositioning to face the new arrivals, the weapons charging for combat. Sir Jamin's assistant called from the communication station. "The Vorthen commander is demanding to speak with you." Nari walked over and took the communicator. She spoke in perfect Vorthon, her voice carrying an authority that made even Jamin's skin crawl. "This is your final warning. Leave now or face the consequences." The response came in angry, clicking growls. The Vorthen commander was clearly not impressed by threats from a single human woman. Nari listened to his words, then replied with something that made the alien fall silent. Whatever she had said, it had shocked him into speechlessness. "What did you tell him?" Jamin asked. "I told him my name, my real name, which is one that his species has been taught to fear for 3 generations. Before Jamin could ask more questions, the battle began. The mysterious human ships moved with impossible coordination, as if they shared a single mind. They didn't attack in formations from any military manual. Instead, they flowed around the Vorthen vessels like water, striking from angles that should have been impossible. The alien ships fired their massive energy weapons, but the human vessels seemed to know where every shot would go before it was fired. They twisted and turned through space, avoiding destruction by margins so thin they defied physics. "How are they doing that?" Keeman whispered. "Practice," Nari replied. "Centuries of practice." The battle lasted only minutes. When it ended, half the Vorthen fleet was disabled, and the other half was retreating toward the edge of the system. The mysterious human ships regrouped near the station, still broadcasting no identification signals. "Station control, this is Unit 12. Came a voice over the communications system, requesting permission to dock. Unit 12. Came and looked at Nari. "You're Unit 7. How many units are there?" "Okay, more than you need to know about. Less than we sometimes need." The docking bay doors opened to admit a ship that looked like nothing in any Earth fleet. It was sleek and black, with lines that seemed to bend light around them. When the airlock opened, a man stepped out. He appeared to be in his 40s, with graying hair and the same calm eyes as Nari. He wore an identical black uniform with a silver insignia, and he moved with the same fluid grace. "Unit 7, he said, nodding to Nari. "Status report. Local threat neutralized. However, the situation has been compromised. Too many witnesses." The man, whom Nari had called Unit 12, looked around at the station personnel who had gathered to watch. "How compromised?" Archaeological evidence has been discovered. Intelligence networks are asking questions. The protocol may need to be activated. Jamin felt a chill at the way they spoke about witnesses and protocol. These weren't just soldiers. They were something else entirely. What's the protocol? He asked. Unit 12 studied him for a moment. It's the final option. The one we hoped never to use. I don't understand. Akana rested a hand on Jamin's shoulder. For 400 years, my people have protected humanity from threats you never knew existed. We fought wars in the shadows, prevented invasions, stopped extinctions, all so that normal humans could live in peace. Your people, the Sleepers, were called the Sleepers because we live ordinary lives until the galaxy needs us. Then we wake up and do what's necessary. Unit 12 activated a communication device. This is Unit 12 to command. Request immediate conference alpha authorization code. The silent war. What's happening? Jamin asked. Nari looked out at the retreating Vorthon ships. The secret is out. After 4 centuries of hiding, the galaxy is about to learn what humanity has really been doing all this time. Is that bad? That depends on how they react to discovering that their protectors have been lying to them for 400 years. In the depths of space, more ships began to move. Not just the mysterious vessels that had helped defend Kepler-7, but others. Ships that had been waiting in the dark spaces between stars, crewed by humans who had been living secret lives for centuries. The Sleepers were awakening. And the galaxy was about to discover that humanity's greatest secret was also its greatest strength. But some secrets, once revealed, could never be hidden again. And some truths were too dangerous for a peaceful galaxy to accept. In a secure medical facility beneath the streets of New Geneva, Earth Council member Insu lay dying. The cancer had spread through his body, and the doctors gave him only days to live. For 50 years, he had carried secrets that weighed heavier than mountains. Now, as death approached, he made a decision that would change everything. Call my daughter, he whispered to his nurse. Tell her to bring the recording device. His daughter G1 arrived within an hour, carrying a small holographic recorder. She had been a journalist before joining the Earth Council's information department, and she knew her father had always been more than he appeared. Father, you asked me to come quickly. Are you ready to tell me what you've been hiding all these years? Inzu looked at his daughter with eyes that held decades of guilt and sorrow. What I'm about to tell you will make you question everything you know about our species. But the galaxy needs to know the truth. He activated the recorder with a trembling hand. My name is Insu Park. I am a founding member of the Sleeper Protocol. What I'm about to reveal has been classified for 4 centuries. G1 leaned forward, her recorder capturing every word. In the year 2387, humanity made first contact with an alien species. Not the Centauri, as history books claim, but something else. Something that was hunting us across the galaxy. Akia's voice grew stronger as he spoke. They called themselves the Harvesters. They had been following human expansion for decades, waiting for us to spread far enough to be worth their attention. Father, this isn't in any historical record, because we made sure it wouldn't be. The first encounter happened on a colony world called Haven's Rest. The Harvesters didn't want to conquer us. They wanted to study us, to learn how human minds worked so they could replicate our creativity and problem-solving abilities. Insu paused, gathering his strength. The colonists fought back, but normal humans were no match for the Harvesters. They were faster, stronger, and had technology we couldn't understand. That's when the first Sleepers were created. Canced. We took volunteers and pushed them beyond human limits. We altered their bodies, their minds, their very DNA. The process was dangerous. Many died, but those who survived became something new, something that could fight the Harvesters on equal terms. G1 stared at her father in shock. You're talking about human experimentation. We're talking about survival. The harvesters would have turned our entire species into their laboratory specimens. The sleepers stopped that from happening. They fought a war in the shadows for decades, hunting down every harvester ship, every outpost, every trace of their presence. What happened to them? The harvesters. Sue's expression darkened. We thought we had destroyed them all, but the sleepers knew that other threats would come. So they prepared. They scattered across human space, living ordinary lives, having families, growing old slowly thanks to their enhancements, all while watching for the next danger. Meanwhile, on Kepler 7, Nari stood in the station's communication center, surrounded by holographic displays showing news feeds from across the galaxy. The footage of the mysterious human ships had spread everywhere, and alien governments were demanding answers. Unit 7, we have a problem, came a voice through her private communication channel. It was Unit 12, speaking from his ship. What kind of problem? The Vorthan Empire is mobilizing their entire fleet. They are calling it a response to the human threat, but our intelligence suggests they're planning something bigger. Nari felt a familiar chill. How much bigger? They're heading for Earth. Full invasion force. 3,000 ships. The number hit Nari like a physical blow. Even with all the sleepers awakened, they couldn't stop an armada that size. The Vorthan Empire had been building their military for decades, and they had decided that humanity's hidden capabilities made them too dangerous to exist. How long do we have? 72 hours until they reach Earth's outer defenses. Nari closed her eyes. After 4 centuries of protecting humanity in secret, the time had come for the final protocol. The one option they had hoped never to use. Activate all sleeper units, she said. Send the awakening signal. Across the galaxy, ordinary humans suddenly stopped what they were doing. Ujin, who had been running a small trading post on the edge of Centauri space, felt the familiar sensation in his mind. The signal that meant his long sleep was over. He closed his shop, walked to his storage room, and pressed his hand against what appeared to be a blank wall. The hidden panel slid open, revealing a black uniform with the silver insignia and weapons that no Earth military had ever seen. Wu Jin had been sleeping for 47 years, living the life of a simple merchant. Now he remembered who he really was. Kinit, 19, enhanced soldier of the Sleeper Protocol, veteran of conflicts that didn't exist in any history book. Similar scenes played out across human space. Teachers, doctors, farmers, shopkeepers, all receiving the same signal, all remembering their true purpose. Su-Jen, a nurse on a medical station near Mars, felt the awakening while she was treating a patient. Her enhanced reflexes kicked in as she realized what the signal meant. The final war was beginning. Kyung-ho, who had been working as a starship mechanic for 30 years, suddenly understood why he had always been able to fix engines that other technicians couldn't even understand. His enhanced mind had been suppressed, but now it was fully active again. Within 6 hours, 200 sleepers had awakened across human space. They moved with coordinated precision, taking control of hidden weapons caches, activating secret communication networks, and preparing for a war that would determine the fate of both humanity and the galaxy. On Earth, the government's emergency session was interrupted by the arrival of 12 individuals in black uniforms. They walked into the chamber without invitation, their silver insignias gleaming under the lights. "Ladies and gentlemen," said the woman leading them, "my name is Unit 1. I'm here to inform you that Earth is under threat of invasion. The Vorthan Empire is sending 3,000 ships to destroy our homeworld." The room erupted in panic. 3,000 ships, shouted the defense minister. "Our entire fleet has less than 200 vessels. Your fleet won't be fighting this battle," Unit 1 replied calmly. "We will. We. Who are you?" "We are the sleepers." We have been protecting humanity for 4 centuries. Today, we fight our final war. Unit 1 activated a holographic display showing the approaching Vorthen fleet. For 400 years, we have kept humanity safe from threats you never knew existed. We fought wars in the shadows, prevented invasions, stopped extinctions, all so you could live in peace. How many of you are there? Asked the Prime Minister. Enough. The truth was, Unit 1 didn't know if they had enough. The sleepers had never faced a threat this large, but they had prepared for this day, and they would not let humanity fall. As the Vorthen fleet approached Earth's solar system, encountered something they had never seen before. Not the scattered Earth Defense Force ships they expected, but a coordinated network of vessels that seemed to appear from nowhere. The sleepers had awakened, and they were ready for their final war in the depths of space. Nari stood on the bridge of a ship that didn't exist in any database, watching the enemy fleet approach. She had been fighting for over 200 years, and she knew this would be her last battle. But she also knew that humanity would survive. The sleepers had made sure of that. The battle for Earth lasted 3 days, but it felt like 3 years to those who watched it unfold. The Vorthen invasion fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system with enough firepower to crack planets, only to find themselves facing an enemy they had never imagined. The sleeper ships moved through space like deadly dancers, their black holes reflecting no light as they struck from every direction. Admiral Kreshval, commanding the Vorthen fleet from his flagship, watched in growing horror as his massive armada was systematically dismantled by ships that shouldn't exist. "How many human vessels are we facing?" he demanded from his tactical officer. "Unknown, sir. Our sensors count different numbers each time we scan." Some ships appear and disappear like ghosts. On the bridge of her command vessel, Nari coordinated the battle with cold precision. 200 years of combat experience flowed through her enhanced mind as she directed units across the solar system. Unit 12, take your squadron around Jupiter's gravity well. Hit their supply ships while their main fleet is distracted, she commanded. Unit 19, the enemy is trying to break through to Mars. Stop them. Unit 1, their flagship is beginning to retreat. Don't let it escape. The battle was unlike anything in recorded galactic history. The sleepers fought with technology that seemed decades ahead of anything Earth officially possessed. Their ships could bend space around them, making them nearly impossible to target. Their weapons cut through Vorthen armor like paper, but more terrifying than their technology was their coordination. They moved as if they shared a single mind, anticipating each other's actions and responding to threats before they fully developed. Wu Jian, piloting his fighter through a cloud of Vorthen debris, felt the familiar connection to his fellow sleepers. After 47 years of sleeping, the mental link was active again. He could sense Nara's tactical overview, Unit 12's position near the asteroid belt, Su Jian's medical ship evacuating wounded civilians from the outer colonies. The enhancement process that had created them centuries ago had done more than improve their bodies. It had linked their minds in ways that normal humans couldn't understand. By the end of the second day, half the Vorthen fleet was destroyed or disabled. Admiral Kreshval sent a desperate message to his government. The humans have capabilities we never suspected. Recommend immediate withdrawal. The response came 12 hours later. Continue the attack. The human threat must be eliminated. On the third day, Kreshval made his final mistake. Desperate to accomplish his mission, he ordered his remaining ships to target Earth's major cities with planet-killer weapons. If he couldn't conquer humanity, he would destroy it. Nari saw the weapons charging on her tactical display. Even with all their abilities, the sleepers couldn't stop every missile. Once they were fired, some would get through. Millions would die. She made a decision that would haunt her for the rest of her long life. All units implement Final Protocol 7, she transmitted across the solar system. Every sleeper ship received The same order. It was a command they had hoped never to use, one that would reveal the full extent of their capabilities to the watching galaxy. The sleeper vessels began to glow with an energy that had never been seen before. They moved faster than light without entering hyperspace, appearing next to Worthen ships in impossible time. They fired weapons that bent reality itself, creating tears in space that swallowed enemy vessels whole in 15 minutes. The rest of the Vorthen fleet simply ceased to exist. Admiral Kreshval's flagship was the last to fall. As his ship broke apart around him, he transmitted a final message to the galaxy. Beware of humanity. They are not what they seem. They are far more dangerous than any of us imagined. The battle was over, but the real consequences were just beginning within hours. Emergency sessions convened in every major government across the galaxy. The footage of the battle had spread everywhere, showing human capabilities that terrified even Earth's closest allies. On Centauri Prime, Ambassador Yonji called an emergency meeting of the Galactic Council. Representatives from 50 worlds gathered in the Great Chamber, all demanding answers about what they had witnessed. The human representative will explain these events, Yunji announced as Hyunwoo took the center of the chamber. But before Hyunwoo could speak, the chamber doors opened. Nari walked in, still wearing her black uniform with the silver insignia. Behind her came Unit 1, Unit 12, and 6 other sleepers. The alien representatives fell silent as the 9 humans approached the speaking platform. Nari's presence seemed to fill the chamber with an energy that made everyone uncomfortable. "My name is Nari," she said, her voice carrying clearly through the vast space. "I am Unit 7 of the Sleeper Protocol. I am 237 years old, and I have been protecting this galaxy longer than most of your civilizations have existed." Gasps echoed through the chamber. The Centauri delegate stood up. 200 years? That's impossible. Many things about humanity are impossible by your standards, Nari replied. For 4 centuries, we have fought wars you never knew about. We have stopped invasions, prevented extinctions, and kept the peace while you slept safely in your homes. "Why?" demanded the Regalian ambassador. "Why hide this from us? 'Cause you would have reacted exactly as you are reacting now, with fear." The chamber erupted in angry voices. Representatives shouted questions and demands. Some called for immediate action against the human worlds. Others suggested that humanity should be quarantined until their true capabilities could be assessed. Nari waited for the noise to die down, then continued. "The Sleeper Protocol was created to protect all sentient life in this galaxy. We have fought enemies you cannot imagine. The Harvesters, the Void Walkers, species that would have consumed your worlds and turned your people into experiments. Where is your proof?" asked the Andromedon delegate. "Dead. We killed them all. That was our job." Unit 1 stepped forward. "The truth is, we didn't reveal ourselves to seek your approval. We revealed ourselves because a greater threat is coming. Something that will make the Vorthen Empire look like children playing with toys." "What threat?" Yunji demanded. Nari looked around the chamber at the assembled representatives. "Our long-range sensors have detected something approaching from beyond the galactic rim. Ships using technology we don't recognize. They'll arrive in approximately 50 years. And you expect us to trust you to protect us again?" "No," Nari said simply. "We expect you to be afraid of us. We expect you to cut off trade with human worlds. We expect you to treat us as the threat you now know we are." The chamber fell silent. "When that unknown enemy arrives, you'll remember this day. You'll remember that humanity has been keeping you safe for 400 years. And you'll hope that we're still willing to do it again." Without waiting for a response, Nari and the other sleepers turned and walked out of the chamber. Their footsteps echoed in the silence they left behind. Over the following months, exactly what Nari had predicted came to pass. A trade agreements with human colonies were canceled. Diplomatic relations grew cold. Several worlds demanded that humans undergo regular inspections to ensure they weren't hiding other military capabilities. Humanity found itself isolated in a galaxy that now feared what it had always been. On Kepler 7, Jermaine stood in his rebuilt command center, watching a human merchant ship be turned away by station security. The captain was someone he recognized, a trader who had been coming to the station for years. Now, they treated him like a potential threat. Was it worth it? He asked Nari, who had been standing silently by the observation window. Ask me in 50 years, she replied. Will you still be here in 50 years? Nari touched the silver insignia on her collar. The sleepers don't retire. We don't get to go home and live normal lives. We gave that up centuries ago so that others could. Do you regret it? Nari looked out at the stars, thinking of all the battles she had fought, all the secrets she had kept, all the friends she had lost over the decades. Every day, she said quietly, but I'd do it again. As she spoke, deep space monitoring stations picked up faint signals from the edge of the galaxy. Something was indeed approaching, just as the sleepers had warned. Something that would test whether humanity's sacrifice had been worth the price. In the darkness between stars, Nari and her fellow sleepers waited. They had revealed themselves to save the galaxy, knowing it would cost them everything, but they would be ready when the next threat arrived. They always were.